I've had a lot of people ask me why am I in a power chair or why am I not using a manual chair? So in this video, I'm going to answer it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about using a power chair versus a manual chair, and be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. The short answer is that I use both of them. I prefer to use my power chair at my house because of the thick carpet, and my manual chair out in public because it's easier to get around in tight spaces. However, it just so happens to be that I'm usually in my power chair when I record videos. People wonder why I do not use my manual chair all the time, and that's because I want to try and avoid from getting carpal tunnel and shoulder injuries. There are links down below that you guys can read about carpal tunnel and shoulder injuries. Whenever an able-bodied person gets something like a shoulder injury, they can just stop the activity that they're doing, such as swimming or whatever caused the injury. However, us wheelchair users can't stop using a wheelchair. And that's because we have to use a wheelchair in order to get around. I'm going to ask you, how many times do you think a manual wheelchair user propels themselves each day? On average, a manual wheelchair user propels themselves 2,000 to 3,000 times per day. Obviously, some days are going to be more than that and some days are going to be less, but the average is 2 to 3,000, which is equal to 730,000 propulsions per year, and that's if you propel 2,000 times a day, and 3,000 times a day would obviously be much more than that. So the reason wheelchair users have shoulder problems is mainly because of weight bearing. You could be bearing weight on your shoulders whenever you transfer, whether it be from your wheelchair into bed or from your bed to your wheelchair or onto the toilet or especially into cars. If you transfer yourself into a car or out of a car, you have to pick up the wheelchair itself and put it in or take it out of the vehicle. Another time we do weight bearing is during pressure reliefs, especially if you are just pushing yourself up. Quadriplegics are affected more with shoulder problems and weight bearing, and that's because we have less muscles to use, so the energy is transferred to the muscles that we can use even more. Between 60 and 70% of manual wheelchair users develop shoulder pain, and there was a study done on manual wheelchair users, and 64% of the people in the study experienced upper extremity pain, and 32% of those people that experienced pain was shoulder pain. After 5 to 19 years, that 32% that experienced shoulder pain increased to 85%. Another problem that manual wheelchair users experience is carpal tunnel. There was a study done on 160 manual wheelchair users that were paraplegics, and 57% of them showed symptoms of carpal tunnel, so like their hands would hurt and stuff, and 60% of them actually had carpal tunnel. So I don't use a manual wheelchair all day long, mainly because I don't want to have shoulder problems. I like using a manual chair as well as a power chair, switch back between them whenever I need them, and I think it is great to have both. Also, power wheelchairs are really good for exercising and strengthening your muscles whenever you are lifting weights or using TheraBands or resistance bands, because you don't have to worry about the wheelchair moving, you don't have to lock your wheels and worry about all of that, so it actually helps whenever you want to strengthen muscles that way. And strengthening muscles that way definitely doesn't put a wear and tear on your body and shoulders like pushing a manual wheelchair does.